Hello, everyone. In our session today, we want to discuss virtualization. Virtualization is the concept of having one physical computer act as though it is multiple computers. What do I mean by that? Well, I can have one physical server in my room. But on that server, I can have many virtual servers. Each of those servers will act independently of all the other servers. I can also have client machines on my server. It is like having 4 computers on one main computer. If you remember, we had talked about the different types of editions. And we had said that we can have standard and we can have data center. With standard server 2012, we can have up to 2 virtual machines. With the data center, we can have an unlimited number of virtual machines. Virtualization allows us to not only run multiple instances of the same operating system on a single computer, but also to run different operating systems on that same computer. So for example, I can have Windows 8 and Windows 10 running virtually on the same machine, but each independently in their own space. I can also have a Microsoft operating system and a non-Microsoft operating system running virtually on the same machine. What are the benefits of using virtualization? Well, think about it this way. I need 10 servers. I can go out and I can buy 10 physical servers. Or I can buy one server, and on that one server, I can install 9 virtual machines, which would give me 10 machines. So it saves in terms of money. And then there's energy. If I'm running one server, it's going to use less energy than if I were running 10 servers. Separation of services. I can have one server, a virtual server running DHCP. I can have another server running DNS. I can have another server as my Active Directory server, and they're all separate because they're in their own virtual space. They're easier to manage because I'm managing them all from one console. I'm sitting in front my main server, which is my Hyper-V server, and I can simply click on other servers to change to another server. I will not have compatibility issues because remember that the servers are going to be running independently of each other in their separate spaces. I can run different platforms. I can run an x86. I can run an x64 in their virtual spaces all on the same machine. Now, let us look at some requirements for the installation of the Hyper-V rule. When you are going to purchase your equipment, you need to know the requirements. You need to know that your processor must have an x64 platform that supports Hyper-V. We refer to that as a hypervisor. So your processor must be running a hypervisor. The minimum processing capacity is 1.4 gigahertz. For memory, the minimum is 512 RAM. And then for your storage, the minimum is 32 gigs for your drive space. This is only the minimum. You will need a lot more than these if you are running a Hyper-V machine that supports other virtual operating systems. But if you're in a classroom situation or you're in a testing situation, you can run the minimum requirements, which again, for the processor is 1.4, for the memory is 512, and for your drive space is 32 gig. We want to go ahead and install the Hyper-V role on a server. So that's what we're going to do right now. To install the Hyper-V role from the Server Manager dashboard, we want to click on Manage. Then we want to click on Add Roles and Features. At the Before We Begin screen, we want to click on Next. On Installation Type, we're going to click on Next. And we have our test server already highlighted, so we want to click on Next. I want to select the checkbox by Hyper-V. And then we want to click Add Features. And before we move on, let's look at the description of the Hyper-V role. Hyper-V provides the services that you can use to create and manage virtual machines and their resources. Each virtual machine is a virtualized computer system that operates in an isolated execution environment. And this is what allows you to run multiple operating systems at the same time, side by side, each in its own space. We want to click on Next to continue. On the feature page, we want to click on Next. We want to click on Next again. And you will need to select your network adapter. So if you were selecting the Ethernet, we would simply click on Ethernet. And here you get to choose your authentication protocol. You can either use the Windows protocol Kerberos, which is more secure, but requires you to set up what we call constrained delegation in your environment that would allow you to perform tasks such as live migration. Or you can use the Credential Security Support Provider protocol to authenticate live migrations. Allow the server to send and receive live migrations of virtual machines. That is already ticked, so we want to click on Next. And we want to take a look at the default locations for the virtual hard disk. You have the Windows and Hyper-V. You have Hyper-V in Documents, where your virtual hard disk will be stored. And that is the default. You can browse and you can change the location for the default location of your virtual hard disk. Click on Next to continue. And at this point, we want to click on Install to install the Hyper-V role. Once the role has completed, you're going to see that you're going to need to restart your server before you can access Hyper-V from the Tools menu. This is the end of our installation of Hyper-V role and our introduction to virtualization. I want to thank you for listening.